Hello, Rebellion! Here we are, as promised, back with part 2 of this epic remembering episode where we remember all the things that did and did not happen before and after we decided to destroy the universe with our fabulous guest, Sar, from 5x5 Takes of YouTube fame. So, I am not going to do the usual intro with giving you all of the information from the credits like Meph usually does, because you already heard that at the beginning of the last episode, and it's still technically the same episode. So why am I even doing an intro? It's just protocol. People expect an intro. You don't want to hit play and just jump right into the middle of a conversation. That would be weird. So here we go. Part 2 of Remember.
But everything's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Except that Adora has another flash and she sees Mara and the sword.
Sure, but that's fine. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. Everything's perfect. No, it's not, though. And, everybody keeps saying that. Except
for one
Scorpia.
Special person.
We love you, Scorpia.
We love you, Scorpia. You are crucial to all of us.
So Adora books it to find Scorpia, and in one of the best opening lines to a conversation, Adora just yells, "You don't think things are perfect!" Because that is, absolutely
cutting to the chase.
Yeah,
she does not have time to lose.
Yep, and you know that this is alternate universe Scorpia because Scorpia takes personal space seriously.
That's another tick for Catra's world, which I think is neat and interesting, because we know that Catra does not like to be touched, and certainly does not like to be touched without warning and against her will. And so to have her be like, that is that one, like, at the end of, I forget what episode it is, but she's like, Scorpia, remember that talk we had about personal space?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I think that this only applies to Adora, because we saw Scorpia get right up in Adora's face when they first met each other in the briefing room. She didn't care about personal space when it wasn't specifically for her benefit. She doesn't want Adora to get into her space because this is the one person in the world who she doesn't like. So she has no problem getting into anyone else's personal space, and other people who she likes, she's fine getting into her personal space. But this is the one person she does not like. And this person is not allowed to get into her personal space. I thought that was the joke. It could go either way. It could be interpreted either way.
Specificity of, like, I happen to be very, like, or whatever.
Yeah, I take it very seriously.
It's the specificity of that line.
Yeah.
And, like, knowing that Catra was like, hey, remember that talk we had about personal space? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. But she put her face right up in Adora's face in the briefing room.
But, regardless of whether or not this is, whose universe is part of, we have Adora knowing that Scorpia knows that shit is fucked up. And Adora's starting to remember. Click, bing. And that perhaps, maybe, they should go to Hordak's sanctum to try to figure out more.
Yes.
Fucking sanctum these days. Who's that dramatic?
Ugh, I know. Whatever. His man lab pain. Whatever.
Yes. Scorpia gives us a little bit more comedy, which we desperately need. She says, I'm not sure if you know, but nobody's allowed in there without express permission. I mean, this is basic stuff. Are you sure you're qualified to be a force captain?
Yeah, I think it's really funny that there's still this insistence upon, like, protocol in such a, like, end of the world, the void is consuming us. I think it's funny and neat. Like, oh, well, you're gonna get punished by Hordak. It's like, that is the least of your fucking worries right now.
Yeah. I think that's another Scorpia quality.
Yeah, I agree. And, we have, Adora being like, we have to fix things. We have to go where it all started. Bing, click, more motify stuff. And then Scorpia does the, listen to the nice lady voice. And it's like, listen to the nice lady. I know. And reaches her tail up, ready to, like, knock her, knock her out and, take her to the Cuckoo Bananas, in part of the infirmary.
Mm-hmm.
They have that?
Apparently, or I think that just
we don't know what the Horde does
or
with their
lock her in a closet. One of the two. Yeah.
Do you think the Horde has an on-site therapist? Absolutely not.
Probably
not. Just be lock her in a closet.
Whatever they do with their mentally unstable people, that's what Scorpia is going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does not come to that because Adora is so agitated that she does not stand still long enough for Scorpia to sting her.
Yeah.
And then Adora says the magic word that finally snaps Scorpia out of her false reality.
Which
magic
is
word, of
Catra.
course, for Scorpia and all of us is Catra.
It is a magic word for all of us. And then we have You Do Remember. Cling. Yay. And we have, Scorpia's flashbacks to snuggle buddy times with Catra and, all the good times on ships and in the waste. And then we kind of have some of the, less exciting times with Catra.
You want to be next?
Yeah. Yeah. And then Scorpia, after Adora says, oh, you do remember, and Scorpia has some of those bad memories, she says, no, I mean, I don't know. Catra, she was just scared. She didn't mean to. What's going on? I keep forgetting things. This is all wrong. How did we get here? So she's like snapping out of it.
So that's what I think is interesting, which is why I'm like, I think the second that Catra gets her flash, like you can't unstuff the genie from the bottle, because like here, once Scorpia gets a flash, she's like, oh, balls.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, you know what I mean? The memory enters you and you can deny all you want from that point, but you've seen it. Like, you've seen it and you felt it. So like Catra gets her flash and it's like, you can keep pretending, but it's like it's entered you.
I agree with that, but I want to add a modifier. I really think that your experience of that process is affected by the degree to which you want to know the truth versus the degree to which you are comforted by the lie and prefer the lie. And again, like trying to wake up when you really don't want to versus when you're really excited about your day. Because of all people, this is Scorpia's least happy reality. Like Scorpia's not happy with this reality. Scorpia was happier when she and Catra were buddies and Adora was not there.
Not crazy about the current reality because Catra just went, off the fucking rails and was a dick and was like, I'm gonna fucking electrocute.
That's what I'm saying. This reality is no good for Scorpia. She is eager to snap out of it. Versus Catra has a strong stake in holding on to the fantasy tooth and nail as long as possible. I feel like she's resisting waking up from this dream the most. So I believe that Catra, I think it's a slow, drawn-out process for Catra, the coming to awareness. I feel like she's aware that the unreality of it, but the sharpness, the singular sharpness of Scorpia being like, oh, this is all wrong. Like, it's very sharp and clear and immediate for Scorpia, and I don't think it's that sharp and clear and immediate for Catra. Yeah. I think it's a slower process for Catra. But luckily, it is not a slow process for Scorpia because Adora really needs an ally right now.
Yeah, it's true. So, Scorpia knocks really quickly out of the world of illusion, and Adora says, we have to get to Hordak Sanctum, and then, the time space goes blah, 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 and now they're...
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, here you go.
Yeah, Sanctum, you say.
Polite reality, alternate reality. Yeah, you want to go here? Here you go.
It's true. Though I think I'd like the time jumping and teleportation part. I wouldn't like the existential dread of knowing that reality is completely collapsing upon me in itself.
Yeah, I think that's a bit too big of a price tag.
Teleportation would also probably make me nauseous personally, but that's just me. Like, I feel like...
yeah. I can see that. Yeah. Like the sudden motion sickness things. I get that. Yeah.
I would definitely prefer to fly than to teleport if I had the choice.
Oh, I'm too impatient. I would want to teleport.
Fly.
I'll just smoke weed afterwards, so I'm not nauseous anymore.
I don't even want to fly necessarily to get somewhere. I just want to experience the feeling of soaring flight.
This checks out with everything I know about you, Jenny.
Does it really?
I think you can jump out of a plane with a parachute.
I have done that. It's actually not as exciting as I hoped it would be.
Really?
I'm sure it's exciting, but it doesn't feel like flying.
Oh.
So actually, I want to learn how to hang glide sometime in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah.
But it still is not going to be the same as actually having the power of flight, which I would choose over teleportation if someone offered me that choice. FYI, I'm just putting that out there for the universe.
All right, universe. In one of the multiverses,
yes.
Make sure Jenny can fly.
Yes. So we get to Hordak Sanctum. Scorpia's freaked out. How did we get here? And Adora's like, just go with it.
Yeah, it's fine. And I love that Scorpia's harping on we'll get fired. And then they do the awesome, like the shh, and then they do the slap fight. And it's just a really great little bit of comedy there.
Because these are two of the most world-class fighters that you could possibly ask for. And they're just having this ridiculous slap fight.
Yeah, I also, again, I'm struck by and whatever interested, or I think it's funny. Again, the even alluding to protocol, like, I'm gonna be fired, and it's like, have we not established that this universe is a farce and is collapsing in on itself?
bigger fish to fry, Scorpia.
Like, this is not, that's not even, remotely a priority.
Yeah.
Employment? Yeah.
Yeah, employment versus exactly.
Yeah, I mean, she's a stickler for protocol, for following rules.
Yep. She aced Force Captain orientation. Like,
she can't just turn off her awareness of wanting to follow the rules.
Right. Yeah.
Even though it is not helping her right now at all. Anyway, while they are quibbling and, the guards go down, oh my God, the door to Hordak Sanctum has disappeared.
Yep. And we have, the instant, like, I love that there was like, how are we going to beat them up? Click. They beat them up. How are we going to get in there? Click. It's not there. Like, okay. And then
another, just a question to chomp on, is that Adora's subconscious driving this, or is that the universe itself moving things? What is accounting for that?
Oh,
I don't know, man.
That is chompy.
You know what I mean? Like, is it the universe that's like pushing things in a certain direction to try to fix itself? Or is it because it's Adora's like thing, she's the center of the portal, like we find out, or like the that her mind, her being like, oh, I need to get here, makes her there. Just food for thought.
Yeah, it does seem to be, I mean, since, as you said, we do eventually find out from Raz that the portal is centered on Adora because she is connected to the sword, and the sword is the key. And so in a way, Adora is the key. It does seem to be following her, but we can't really know.
Yeah. So we,
But we get another glimpse of Raz.
We get another glimpse of Raz, and Scorpia's like, okay, I did not see that. So but you know what? You know what's going on. I don't see any other options. So let's go try to, We have
to go over these are very quality, funny lines. Let's just take the quick second. It's that lady. What lady? The one who says Mara, come on. Okay, that makes no sense. But I'm going to follow you because I don't see a lot of other options.
I love that.
It's a great exchange.
I love that.
Quality stuff.
Is she wrong? What else are you going to fucking do?
Yeah, I mean, she is correct in her assessment of the situation.
Yeah.
There's another question here that really does not get answered in this one and the next one, but it's like, what is Raz's presence in this whole thing? To what like, I mean, she is just an anomaly in the show itself, but like, what degree of control agency does she have? How is she popping in and out,
Well, Raz exists outside of the understandings of time and space. Raz has, like, shrugged off the world of illusions, right? Because she's Raz, because she's achieved enlightenment. She's outside of it. Raz is a being of magic.
Yeah, my assessment of Raz is that she is part of Etheria. Like, she is the embodiment of the magic of Etheria, the same way Aughra is the embodiment of the magic of Thra, which is the world of the Dark Crystal. I feel like she was born when the planet was born, and she will always exist as long as the planet exists.
I agree.
So I don't think she doesn't have any agency like to change what is happening, clearly, but she is somewhat more untethered because she is aware, because she is a being of pure magic, and she is untethered from time, as we have seen before. She is somewhat more free to move through it, but I feel like that's the extent of what kind of agency she has. But that's just my interpretation. I think that it's certainly up for interpretation.
Raz just has Buddha nature. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bubby Buddha.
Bubby Buddha.
Also, I'm sure it's been taken note of, but I always think it's funny that Raz's voice actor is Gray, and I don't know how to say the last name. I don't know if it's
Delise, right?
Gray Griffin.
Oh yeah, or Delise.
Delisle, whatever.
Yeah,
it's Azula, which I think is very funny.
We have discussed this at length.
We have discussed this. Yes. Yeah,
we love her. Azula, we love Raz, we love Gray Griffin, and she has her IMDb credits. She has several different nom de plumes, but she is a very storied voice actor. She has done so many things, and in one of our early episodes, I talked about a hilarious TikTok she did, several years back, after Trump lost the election and went haywire and started tweeting all this crazy shit. So Grey DeLise dressed up in full Azula costume, and she really looks the part. She has the right hair, she has the right features, and she started reading Trump's tweet in like full Azula character, just like getting more and more unhinged. And it's just the most hilarious shit.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And I sent it to my dad because my dad is a big Avatar fan. My dad and my brother got me into it at the same time. And my dad is 72, bear this in mind. And he's not on social media at all, but every once in a while I send him a TikTok that I know he'll appreciate. And he was watching it for weeks. Like my stepmom kept texting me being like, I can hear your dad watching the Azula video in the next room, and he's laughing hysterically.
I mean, it's awesome.
It's quality. And she plays a bunch of characters on this show. I actually noticed in the credits of the next episode that she also voices the head guard in Bright Moon.
Yep, Juliet.
Yeah.
There's a timbre that's very similar to Azula that I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I might as well get your actors to do miscellaneous voices. Also, final thing that I really like about how as the urgency of the situation and the decaying reality continues, we get more and more of these like nice like Dutch angle shots and like rotating camera of like something's not right, you know.
Yep. Yep.
Everything's at a bit of a tilt, a bit of an angle, and it only grows as the episode goes on.
Yep, I do love that.
I guess in animation it's different, but I like when you get to see some like fun camera play.
Yes.
Definitely. And, you know.
Yes.
You know, shouts to the directors and the storyboard artists for their wonderful and deliberate pacing and, you know, just all of the things.
Very much. We get one more little moment of Scorpia comedy. She's running after Adora, who's much faster, and she's panting, "Why is everyone so fast?"
It's fucking funny. I mean, she's so like so true.
Yeah, I mean, she's a powerhouse, but she's not the fastest person on the team.
That's fine.
Power lifter, not the like sprint.
Yeah, she's the tank.
Yeah. I mean, those muscles are heavy.
Yeah,
and also, you know, so we have the chasing, and then we have the this really funny back and forth between the two of them, where it's like, you know, if this works, you can, you know, Adora's like, if this works, you can go back to hating me, and then Scorpia like, look, if you get us out of this, I won't hate you. I will dislike you a reasonable amount, and that is like the biggest Cancer energy that I've ever heard. That is like,
that's a great Adora Scorpia moment. One of the best.
Yeah. So
it's probably the most quotable.
Yep. So, you know, they make a deal about that.
And now they are free to hold hands / claws like buddies.
Yep.
But the sword isn't there.
Nope.
Even though Adora has memories of it being there. Rude. And also, tiny thing, even though the portal isn't there, the screens behind Scorpia on the wall still show schematics of the portal and the wormhole. If you pause, I mean, it's a few different fleeting moments. If you pause at the time code 1352, you can see a perfect picture of the portal and wormhole schematic on the screen behind Scorpia in Hordex Sanctum. So even though the portal's not there, there are still some vestiges.
Groovy.
Here to clearly pose thought food continuously, because I'm like,
yes.
What if in this, you know, fledgling reality, a portal had been built and developed? What fucking then? Is it just like infinite reality wormhole? You know what I mean? A portal within a portal? Like, who knows?
Yeah, but where is it?
I love this.
I don't know. I mean, I guess they would have needed something to power it. What if it wasn't a sword? What if they had some other tech? I don't know. I'm just like, clearly have the schematics. What if they created a portal within a portal? It was just
yeah, it's like when you have two mirrors facing each other.
So this is kind of a big thing, because when they get there, we have some flashbacks of the portal, and we have Adora flashing back of Catra pulling the lever. And now Adora is remembering specifically what Catra did to trigger this reality. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Which is also, again, is such an interesting like catalyst for all of this, right? Because that the pulling of the lever is one of the like big like I mean, not just universe altering, but like big character moments of like, this is one of the points of no return of like, and we hear her say why. She's like, I was gonna win. she was so obsessed with winning at that point. She was like, whatever it takes, I don't fucking care. She was like, this could make a mess, but we're going to win and you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And leading directly into this universe, we're like, oh, everything's great. We're friends, right? Which is because it's like for her, that is winning. It's, you know what I mean? Like going from this moment of like ultimate villainy, ultimate vengeance, ultimate like bitterness to like, oh, well, everything's fine now. So like, you know what I mean? It's so neat that those are the two characters that we get like back to back.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
This is what Catra winning looks like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having
just
Dora
wants to
back
win
as her best friend in their happy little gay domestic life together.
It's either, you know what I mean? It's like, fine, you don't want to fucking be with me? Fine, you're going to see how goddamn successful I can be without you. Watch me do stuff without you. Watch me earn it without you.
Watch me tear down the whole fucking world.
Right? It's like,
if
fine,
you are not going to be with me.
That switch. So it's either that or, okay, no, we are together and everything's great and everything's fine. Or,
but I don't have to destroy the world.
Right? Is this like...
Yeah.
Oh, sweet baby Catra.
The other important thing that Adora remembers in this moment, actually, I'm just going to read the line because it's very neat. Adora says, Catra, it was Catra. Catra did this. She captured me. She took... And as she says the sword, she has a flashback, not just of the sword, but of the seminal sword moment from the pilot when she first sees it in its little Excalibur shaft of light in the woods. So this is the moment where it sort of comes together. Mm-hmm. And then she has this sort of dawning comprehension. She says, the sword, there's supposed to be a sword. My sword, but it's gone. It's in the portal. That's why we're here. I need to find it. So now she has finally figured out, sort of in a rudimentary way, what has to happen.
Yep.
And then they have to run and hide because they hear Imp a-twittering.
I like her saying my sword, right? Of this moment.
Yes.
Because she's always, her relationship to the sword and everything it symbolizes is always very ambivalent. Like, is it me? Is it part of me? Is it not me? And so her being like, my sword. I think that's significant.
Yeah, I do. I like that too.
Yeah. And, you know, that's going to be an ongoing thing because eventually there's going to be a different sword.
Not her sword. That's the thing. Eventually she's going to smash the hell out of that.
That's right. That's right. It's a false sword, but we're not there yet. But it's an interesting thing to keep in mind. Her relationship with the sword is very central. It's a very good point. But now we have Hordak, red-eyed and menacing out of the darkness. We have Imp being the most creepy he's ever been. I know in the past I have said that I liked him, but what I do not like is when he lands on the desk and starts sniffing the air.
Yeah, that's creepy.
You what, if you have a basically human face, you should not be sniffing the air like an animal. Either be human or don't be human.
You remember that episode where Catra gets on all fours and goes,
but she's half cat, so it's okay for her.
But you said if they have a basically human face.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know why it creeps me out when Imp does it. You know, his little screech. I don't know. I just don't like it here. It creeps me out.
Imp's creepy.
He's creepy. So Scorpia and Adora are hiding in their little corner, and they hide for like 5 seconds, and then for some reason they decide that the coast is clear, even though Hordak and Imp are both still in the room, and they turn to each other and say, boy, that was close. Like, seriously, have you never seen a horror movie? Why would you say that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they really watch films in the Horde.
No, they clearly have never seen a horror movie, because that's the cue for Imp to land right in front of them, screaming his horrible, half metallic little Imp scream right in their fucking faces, and it's pretty gross.
Nope, I'm not pro Imp.
Like, yeah, you better run. So there's nothing to do then but run.
And
run
and
from the sanctum as the portal glitch consumes it.
And run they do. And Scorpia? Where'd Scorpia go?
Scorpia doesn't make it.
Scorpia doesn't make it.
She gets nothing.
Whomp. Scorpia gets...
Or blipped, however you want to think of it. Whatever your cross-medium comparison of choices.
And then, so this is an interesting part that I wanted to point out, because at first we kind of have like things blipping out of reality, and now we have the actual physical reality around them collapsing.
Right.
So like we now have the actual structure of the fright zone collapsing, and manifesting in like physical, observable, destructive ways that people in this world of illusions can see.
Yes.
So we have that. And then, of course, speaking of things popping from the world of illusions into reality, why, we have Raz.
Why, hello, my dearie.
And Adora does not know who this is and is like, why do I? And I love that this is, who are you? Why do I know you? Because Adora knows that she knows Raz, but doesn't know why she knows Raz. And also wants to know, why are you here?
And is this real?
Is this real? Because, like, if anything is saying shit is getting real, it's the literal world, physical world collapsing around them, right? So, yes, this is real. And Raz gives us a little bit of hope that says you can still fix it. There's still time.
And Raz is also the one that confirms that this is real.
Yes.
Because I'm afraid so.
Yes.
Yeah. And I like that of, you know, out of all the people that are confirming this reality, it's Raz who lives within and without all realities on Etheria.
Yes.
So good for her.
And this is the one person that Adora sort of intuitively knows that she can trust.
I also like how, like, chill Raz is about it. Like, she's like, yeah, you know, you can still fix it. Like, I don't know if she's affected by this at all, but she just is very, like, level about it all.
Raz is the one person who's been through it before. So she's the only person who has context.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, as you pointed out, Meph, she is a Buddha, so she has this level of detachment that nobody else could possibly have.
Yeah, she's seen through the world of illusion, though.
So whatever happens, all will be as it should be, and the universe will maintain its own balance. And she has a detachment from ego that allows her, I feel like, to be at peace with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then, you know, so we have Raz being like, so find me in the woods, and then, you know, fucking off. And then now we have Lonnie coming in and saying, Adora, where have you been? And, you know,
as the world is falling apart around them, the question she asks is, where have you been? Like, everything is as if things are normal. Not like, what the fuck is going on?
Right. We were supposed to meet for lunch. Where were you? Right.
Yeah.
Like, and then we have Adora saying, where are Kyle and Rogelio? And this is so sad.
Yeah.
Because Lonnie doesn't know who they are. So they were like blipped out of existence. And now Lonnie doesn't have her boyfriends.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
It's very sad.
And then she kind of says, I don't, and then, you know, it kind of clicks in for her. I think they're gone. And that's all we have is gone. That's the only understanding that Lonnie has about what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And
then sees what's going on around them. Because now Lonnie, you know, when that kind of clicked in, the Lonnie seeing through the illusion, because only the melting of the universe can break up our powerhouse polycule. And now Lonnie sees past it. And
yes, and you know, the ground is crumbling under their feet.
Yeah, like, you know, once again, physical reality is now melting, is like observably collapsing.
Yeah, like, you know, and like big chunks of ground are being pulled up into the sky.
Yeah,
you know, like
it looks like the apocalypse
fundamentally breaking down. Yeah, it looks like apocalypse weather
to like more people than just, you know, Adora.
Yeah, and it's more, it's even looking more like the Nothing from the Neverending Story. It's like, if you don't move out of the way, you are going to be like pulled up into nothingness in a way that you can physically see.
Yeah.
So they run away, they run back indoors inside a hallway, and Adora, you know, Lonnie almost falls into a crack in the ground. Adora pulls her out. They both run inside. And Adora rushes up to slam her hand on the control to close the door. And then she turns back to Lonnie, but Lonnie is not there.
There is no Lonnie.
Yes, there is only Zool.
There is no Lonnie. There's only Zool.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fair. No, that's fair.
No, there's not even Zool. There's nobody.
There's nobody. Yeah. So Adora's running and finds Catra, who's
casually hanging out.
With the other horde queers.
Yep.
Yeah, with the ones with like the shaggy hair and the wallet chain.
Yep. The
and
background like, queers.
You know, significantly less detail somehow in their faces than other main characters. I don't know why.
Yeah, one of them we've never even seen their eyes.
Yeah, it's just
I also think it's nice how, again, we saw this before as well, but like Catra is a fun, you know, this sort of undoes her loneliness a bit. Like, we don't really see her like being chummy with people in the real world, and here, you know, we even have like this, you know, cursory little scene of her like chatting it up with people. Like, that whoever's fantasy it is, like clearly that's a significant thing too, is for Catra to just be liked a little more.
Yeah. And I think that it's probably part of both Catra and Adora's fantasy for that to be true, because
in some places and in some cases we can't really tell. We're like, it could be Adora's, it could be Catra's. I think that itself is very cool and very telling of how as misaligned as they are, also aligned, that their thoughts of
how much they love each other.
I think that's a neat thing that sometimes we can't discern. Like, is this Adora's subconscious looking out for Catra, or Catra looking out for herself, or vice versa?
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. That's very well put, right? Because despite all of the tangible factors that make it impossible for them to move forward together right now, the love they share is real, obviously. They do love each other. They do care for each other. They want each other to be happy and have what they want to the degree that it's possible.
Yeah. Which is why, again, it's just such a good undertaking of like these two coexisting things of like, you can enormously love someone, you can enormously care for someone, and not understand them in ways that are really significant and that are impediments to certain levels of closeness. And that relationship is still real and meaningful.
Yeah.
And there are things that are missing, right? It's these two things that are
or just not be able to give them what they need, even if misunderstanding isn't part of it. You can love someone and just not be able to give them what they need,
or not be able to give them what they need right now. And also, like, love and understanding. It's like you can love someone and not understand them and not have them understand you. And it's not insurmountable, but like you have to be open to that, which clearly, like, it's not quite possible yet. But I just think it's neat that these two things are like circling each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So Adora grabs Catra away from her other queer buddies, drags her into a storage closet. Catra does not know what the fuck is going on.
I know.
Do you want to
maybe you want to kiss? The world's gonna end, so maybe we should kiss.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And Catra's still in denial, with big quotes. I have denial here.
Yeah.
Denial.
Adora says they have to leave right fucking now. And she lists by name all of their lifelong friends who have disappeared. And Catra does not remember any of them. So she has no idea what Adora's talking about.
Yep. And then we have Catra saying, everything's fine. Bing.
Yep. And Adora says, don't say it's perfect. I know it's not perfect. And so do you.
And now we have Catra's big flashback, and then going right back into denial land.
Yes.
Again, I love the realization that plays across her face, and I love the repetition, like in the actual animation, the thing that she does.
Yes.
Holds herself to like comfort herself.
Yep, I have that in my notes too.
Which we see, we see in all sorts of scenarios, but we see this like instinctive, like knowing, that something's wrong. And I think also, the enormous thing here is like there's, I don't want to return to the world where everything is fucked up and terrible, but there's also like an enormous amount of shame and guilt. Like it's not, not to say that the decision she made wasn't, she had full agency. She wanted to do it in the moment, but it was also an act of like enormous despair and pain, and obviously not something that like she's capital P proud of. So like you can see, I see it at least in the voice acting and the animation, like an enormous amount of shame of like,
absolutely.
Fuck, I wish because she's not stupid. She knows that that's sort of a point of no return.
Absolutely. It's a terrible thing to have to face.
Yeah. Well, shit, I caused the apocalypse.
Absolutely. So Catra says, you've gone crazy. I'm not going anywhere. And Adora is desperate and panicking. And she looks over and sees that full bin of zappers. Standard issue Horde zappers.
They just like keep them in a box in the closet.
Well, it's a storage closet.
Sure, but it's just like they just like pile them on top of each other.
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And a fire hazard?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like they don't just have them like in cases or anything. It's just like in like a cardboard box.
Horde doesn't have great safety regulations.
Yeah, there's no OSHA for the Horde.
Everything's metal. How big of a fire hazard can it be?
It could be an explosion hazard. I don't know.
That's true.
Anyway, regardless of how advisable it is to have a big bin of zappers, Adora grabs one, zaps Catra to save her.
Right.
And carries her, cradles her like a baby, and runs away as the glitch continues consuming the rest of the fright zone very dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also fucking love this inversion of, every single beat.
Yes. And so now they're back on the skiff again, recreating, going back to the beginning. This is how it started. The two of them on a skiff going off to the Whispering Woods. But in this situation, the entire Fright Zone is being blipped out of existence behind them as they go.
Like, significantly, right? What's different? Catra was taken by force, unconscious. They are in every way not on the same page. They're not like, let's go together. It's like, I'm dragging you. You're unconscious. Right? There's not collaboration of any kind.
Right. And they're just trying to save Catra's life.
Right. And also Adora zaps Catra, like, you know, in like a panicked way, just as Catra zapped Adora in the sword as well.
Right.
You know, just like, we just have to get, you know, I need to take you home or I need to take you away. Like it's very much driven by that. Yeah.
I mean, I think also, like, again, it's obvious, but like for all the correct acknowledgments of the parallel narrative arcs between Glimmer and Catra, I mean, everyone's a fucking parallel, but like Adora and Catra are paralleled in so many ways. You know?
Right.
So now we have a new scene out in the woods on the skiff.
So they're wrestling on the skiff, and you know, Catra wakes up, and you know, they're fighting on the skiff. Just once again, parallel, just like, you know, they were wrestling on the skiff to control the skiff, just as in the sword.
But of course, in the sword, it was very lighthearted, and they were sort of laughing and wrestling. And now it is not lighthearted.
It is not lighthearted. No one is laughing now.
Caps, Catra, just let your girlfriend save your goddamn life.
Yep.
But we know it can't play out like that.
And then, of course, you know, we have the line, right? We have here's the big thesis of the entire series. Adora, I won't leave you behind. Catra, why can't you stay? We have everything we ever wanted. Oh, wow. It's just like really hammered home here, y'all. Like,
so, I mean, there it fucking is. There it is.
Yeah.
They are screaming at each other. Why can't you just get that I'm on your side or that but it is so like, they are not speaking each other's language. I mean, you can, you know, place fault and blame in different ways, whatever. It's, you know, Catra's clearly a little more unhinged here, but it's like, they are not speaking the same language at all.
No.
And then, because Adora says it's not real.
Ultimately, what they're trying to convey to each other, like what's deep beneath everything, all the fucking mess that, again, they're not going to untangle for a while, is like, damn, I fucking care about you. Like, dude, I care about you. I want you with me. That is what's there, but it's buried beneath this noise that just, it makes this whole mess.
Messy babies.
It's just so sad. I mean, it's just fundamentally sad.
Yeah.
Right. Because they have that perfect symmetry of, I won't leave you behind. Why can't you just stay? Right. That's the perfect symmetry. But Adora has an answer for why can't you just stay? She says, it's not real, Catra. As much as I wish things could be simple the way they used to be, there's no going back. And Catra doesn't have an answer for that. She just shouts and shoves Adora away and, you know, starts fighting because she doesn't have an answer for that. She just can't deal with it.
Mm-hmm. I also love the acknowledgement. This is one of my few, I don't know if it's a gripe per se, but it's something I wish we would have gotten a tad bit more of in their, you know, unpacking of everything, is Adora here being like, I won't leave you behind again. I think that's enormously significant. I think that's something that's unpacked a little bit less than it should have been. Like, obviously, again, as a Catra lover, enjoyer, right? Like, she had a lot more of the, you know, blame in this, if we want to put in air quotes, you know, a lot more of the whatever. However, Adora just fucking off and leaving and running into Catra by accident and then being like, oh, you can come too if you want. Like, that was extremely, like, painful and scary. Like, she was like, just like, it's because they ran into each other, but it's like, that, like, I wish there had been a slight bit more of acknowledgement of like what that would have done, you know, of like, I did just leave and I was just going to keep doing what I was doing, She-Ra, Bow, Glimmer, until I bumped into you. But it was like, that's huge. I wish that there would have been like a tad more of like, hey, I realize how fucked up it was, you know, to like fuck off and leave when you were alone and probably then would have faced a bunch of pain and consequences after I left. Like, I didn't think about that. I'm so sorry. You know, like, goddamn, like you were alone. I was your one sort of like protector, you know, just like a teeny bit more. Cause it's like, that's why Catra then goes all black and white thinking, is because she's like, oh, you literally do not give a shit about me. Which obviously isn't the case, but it's like, you left me there with Shadow Weaver.
Yeah, and Catra does bring that up, too, in one of the earlier, before everything, you know, before they completely break apart. Catra does do you know what happened to me when you, do you know what happened when you left?
You even care. Which obviously Adora does. I wish that they had just sent that home a little bit more, but, you know, that's other stuff. But I like that it's acknowledged here a little bit of like, you know, how.
I mean, we have flashbacks to that moment that we just haven't quite gotten to yet. And I mean, I think you're being a little bit unfair to Adora in your summation of how that went down in the beginning, because Adora's entreaty of Catra to come with her was a lot more sincere than you're making it sound. She's like, oh, you can come with me if you want to. Makes it sound very casual. And like Adora doesn't have a big stake in it. And like, oh, she just left and she wasn't going to go back unless they just happen to have been to each other. It had been like 2 days.
And, you know, it would have felt from Catra's point of view, right? Like,
yes, of course, that's how Catra saw it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying.
But Adora begged her to come with her. She was down on her knees. It was like a marriage. It looked like, you know, if you look at it, it looks like she's, you know, asking her to marry her. And yeah,
if I apologize that wasn't clear. I was meaning it like that is the way that it came across, right? That like I see you with these people. I see you, completely having switched sides on a on a dime, and now you ask me. Like it's because Catra isn't able to think in a balanced
right.
Catra,
no, Catra didn't see it that way.
It's an all or nothing thing. So it felt like, again, I'm saying it felt like I'm an afterthought. She doesn't.
Right. That's how Catra saw it. But Adora tried.
Of course she did.
To make her see how wanted she was, and never stopped trying to make her feel wanted. And then the flashbacks that are continuing from this point as they're fighting, they just had the lines that we said. And then, Catra can't hear that there's no going back. So they continue fighting. And then Adora says, why did you do it?
Why did you
do
it?
Catra says, I don't know what you're talking about. And this is, of course, very open to interpretation about to what degree do we believe that Catra doesn't know what she's talking about. So we can all, see it from whatever point of view we see it. Mm-hmm. And then Adora, the glitch is continuing to get closer to them as they're fighting. And Adora says, there's no time, we have to go. And then Catra, she is really shutting down. She's, like you were saying, she's wrapping her arms around herself, trying to either comfort herself or not accept what's happening. And then she flashes back to the childhood promise, where they say to each other, where baby Adora says, you look out for me and I look out for you. Nothing really bad can happen as long as we have each other. And baby Catra says, you promise? And then it transitions really smoothly. Baby Adora saying, I promise. Switching back to present Adora saying, I promise everything will be okay if we just stay together.
Yeah.
So this is the callback to earlier Catra saying everything will be okay if we just stay together, meaning you stay here with me. And now Adora is begging her. She's being as vulnerable as she can be, as sincere as she can be. I want you to stay with me. I want us to stay together. If we stay here, we're going to die. Mm-hmm. Just stay with me and we can fix it. And Catra can't hear that. They're not in the same place. And it just is what it is.
Just let me fix this.
Yeah.
And that's when Catra again flashes back to that moment in Thamor, Adora's run away with me, marry me moment, when she, the handhold, that pivotal shot of their handhold moment where Adora reaches out and says, you can, you don't have to go back, come with me.
And that's the thing, right? So to again, if clarifying my point earlier is still, it's Catra needs to be a priority. Right. If there's anything that's like you're leaving with other people, you're leaving because you have some other ambition. Like it's like that is the thing. That's why it's like if there is anything else that is or could become a priority over me, I am terrified. I don't feel safe. I don't fucking know. You make new friends. What if you're just going to go feel, closer to them? What if you have some other ambition and you like being She-Ra more than you like whatever, being with me? It's like, that is why I'm like, you have to stay in this environment where I already understand the status quo, even the fucked up status quo. That's why I'm saying like, in the beginning, that's why she felt like an afterthought. Cause it's like, now you have these two other priorities. You have the sword and She-Ra and these new friends. I'm like, hello, I have to be the priority or I don't know what the fuck to do with myself.
Yeah. I want to just call back to a couple of things. One, I just have this entire scene as gayest moment. Like we stopped having gayest moments. But this is my gayest moment of gay moments. But I hate saying that because my heart is like breaking in this gayest moment.
Yes.
And two, sorry, I want to kind of bring back something, just kind of go back to what you were talking about and tie it into, I think it was your videos on why Catra and why Adora matter, talking about how they both believe in the idea of finite love.
Because that's all they've been taught. Like, that's why, and sort of in opposing ways, it's really like fucked up and sad. Like all of this is like fucked up and sad. And that's why they can't reconcile here despite wanting the same thing. And that's why they won't reconcile for a long, long, long ass time, is because it's like, again, with Catra's like, the second there's another priority, like my worth is completely like in the balance, and she's like, that is just a risk. It's not like, and obviously it's not like she's thinking through this, like, no, of course, it's all subconscious. It's this fear,
and it's based on trauma that's lived experience.
It's what they've been taught. It's because again, it's this all or nothing. It's if this, then not this. If you're, if Adora's not here, you're in danger. If when Adora's, it's everything that's taught from Shadow Weaver. It's this very like restrictive and obviously not real perception of love and care and safety, it sucks.
It
sucks.
And I mean, that's why this show is so relatable for so many people as adults, because it deals with trauma on such a deep level.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's so real.
And specifically, again, the thing that is so like on both ends, and that is obviously also so real, is again, key point here is so much of this is subconscious, which is like massive, right? This isn't stuff that they're like thinking through, like, well, if you leave,
right? Of course,
it's this enormous well of feelings that is just like, alarm bells of like, this feels scary, this feels unsafe. I don't care what I have to do. That's why it's so fucking batshit. You're like, well, why didn't you just go with her? Like, it's almost like, well, duh, dummy, like she wants you. But it's like, this is so unfamiliar that risk is not worth it. I will pull a lever that I don't know what it's going to do because like I got nothing, right? It's so like subconscious fear, fight or flightism. Again, fucked up, sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, I mean, this world is a visual representation of what is going on in their subconscious struggles.
Yeah. Now we have another conversation about want, right? Because both of them have this really tense, both of them have this really tense and kind of fucked up relationship with the idea of wanting things, right? Catra does want things, but Catra does not believe that she gets to get the things she wants. Adora does not know how to want things. Yeah. Adora does not know how to want things that have to do with like, herself, right?
She can. This episode with Shadow Weaver, again, as all she knows about wants is what's told her. Is like, is this not what you wanted?
Right.
You're old enough to want.
Right. This is what I told you to want.
Right. Yeah. And poor abused babies. I mean, that like also like, as both of those having this internal like struggle with the idea of want. It's a really kind of classic manifestation of trauma. Like, so.
Yeah. And just going back real quick to what I said at the end of the last episode about the Dark Night of the Soul, this point that we are at right now is one manifestation of what it can look like to be, in the lowest depths of facing the ugliest parts of your trauma. And we know that they are going to come out of this and start their healing from here. But you can't really start your healing until you go down into the ugliest places to face the ugliest parts of this trauma.
I love that you're bringing that up, Jenny, because we are going to be talking about that very soon.
Yay!
Very soon.
You can't just paint over it if there's toxic. Here's a good metaphor. You can't just paint over toxic mold.
Yeah.
And expect it not to seep back through.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly here. Is that like reality has painted itself over with some veneer, but it's like the actual issues, the internal issues, the issues between them have not been addressed or resolved. And it's like, and that
it's festering.
And that's the problem. And it requires, work and awareness and communication for both of them. And that we are just not there yet. This is, if anyone has seen, y'all have seen Avatar, of course, both of you.
Of course. Yeah. We're big Avatar fans.
Yes.
There's something that I really love that Avatar does at the end of, spoilers, I guess you haven't seen Avatar season 2. But at the end of season 2, when Zuko is given the chance to like do good and join Katara, and he doesn't. I fucking love that. It is, which is the correct narrative choice because he was not there yet, right? Even with all the growth that he'd had, right? He still had that thing inside him that was like, but if I do go home and I do see my father, and what he needed to do, in the same way that Catra, need emotionally and narratively, what he needed to do was go home, see everything that he thought he wanted, and go, oh, wait, this is not right. I don't want this. Same thing for Catra. Catra needs to get to that point and have her thing in season 4 where she's like, damn, I thought winning would be different.
Yep.
Yes.
Because if she had gone here, right, if she had decided here at any point, the issues would have exploded because she had not gotten to that point yet of being able to be like, oh, here's why this is wrong. And it's fantastic.
Right.
You need to get worse before you get better.
Play it all the way out.
Yep. And that's why, it's so important when Catra says, don't you get it? I am never going with you. That's where that is.
Adora says, help me fix this. This can't be what you wanted. And that's Catra's breaking point. That's when we see Catra finally unhinged.
Yeah.
Just like fucking laugh. Like it's actually like genuinely kind of terrifying. Again, as like a Catra lover, it's like, oh, okay, bestie.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all Catra lovers. And this is the first time, and I think Adora feels it too. When Catra, has her scary unhinged laughter, she says, don't you get it? I'm never going to go with you. And Adora gasps and steps away from her with this look of genuine shock on her face. I don't think we've ever seen her react to Catra this way before.
Where did Catra go?
Like, we've seen all sorts of shit from Catra. We've never seen something that is this. I think it's the intensity of it, and I think it's the switch on a dime, right? Of Catra like cradling herself, like, what? I don't know what you mean. Don't you get it? I'm never going to go with you.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen Catra with this level of zero fucks left to give.
Yeah, this is like
her feeling that she had the chance. She gave Adora the chance for them to have everything, and now there is absolutely no salvaging anything.
And it's specifically that I'm never going to go with you. It's like, clearly you, Adora, you haven't been fucking listening. I can't go with you. I have been begging you in every way that I know how to beg for you to stay with me. That is what I fucking need. If you love me, you're going to stay with me. You're going to stay with me in this world, perfect or not perfect, where I know how things work. All you can keep saying is for me to go with you. Clearly you don't fucking get it. I'm going to go full manic villain,
Yeah.
Yep. And then it's like, oh, cool. So, because you didn't stay with me, like, fuck you. You're just going to you're ruining our world.
Right.
Yep.
I'd rather destroy the world than let you win.
Right.
Which basically means anything other than doing what I want to do.
Another one of those bingo words, the Catra saying win, she starts to do that, especially in season 3 throughout. She's like, Adora always wins. Adora's going to win. I never get to win, right? And what is winning? Winning is part of a zero sum, like black and white. If someone wins, someone else loses, right?
Yes.
Yep. That's how they were raised, right?
That notion
which
of winning
is exactly
and losing.
what you brought up earlier. Yeah. And so they have a fight, and big pows at the end of the world, while everything is falling apart around them. And here's another part. So whenever we've seen Catra and Adora fight, unless they've been play fighting or practice fighting, as we see in the Sword, Adora is defending. Adora is always defending. Adora very rarely, if ever, I think, until the portal, takes the offensive.
Yeah, it's like she has these like mixed things, like in the Battle for Bright Moon, where she like slams her against the wall and throws her. It's like reactive.
Yes, exactly. It's reactive. Yes, that's a way better way to say it. Adora is reactive, not proactive, when she is fighting Catra until we get to the portal. When Adora has her switch, when Adora realizes that this is, that they are 100% on other side.
But
the other side.
In this fight, as Catra's dangling from the precipice of this like disintegrating landmass, Adora still tries to save her.
Yeah, exactly. Adora is reactive, she's defensive, and she's still trying to do the saving. Like Adora is, and we see this.
So like
and
she
Catra
still hasn't given. So at this point, I just want to point out, because it's going to come up again in the next episode, Adora still has not given up on Catra. She still wants to save Catra. She still cares for Catra.
Yep.
Catra is still a priority for Adora.
Absolutely. Yep. We still see that. And Catra keeps saying, once again, we're back at win. I'd rather see the whole world end than let that happen. That is like, all right, like that is, one thing we haven't brought up, and it's something that we all would love to chat about just quickly, that is like such a Faith Lehane moment too.
Yes.
That.
Oh my God, we haven't talked about Faith at all.
That's Faith throwing herself off the fucking building.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Buffy season 3. Oopsie. But like,
and we're a fully spoiled podcast, and we're very unashamed of that.
But yeah, that's literally hers being like, "All right, like, deuces, same thing." Go on. Yeah. And in all of it, like, it's a very Faith move. Faith and Catra go to the same group therapy. They absolutely do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that is more of Catra being Faith and Adora being Buffy. And we, there are so many friggin' parallels that we haven't even dug into yet, which I'm sure we will do it again.
I would say that the look on Adora's face after Catra lets go and lets herself fall into the blip.
Yes.
That look on Adora's face of like, she can't believe that she did it, can't believe she's gone, can't believe I lost her, I failed to save her, is this exact same look that's on Buffy's face after she stabs Faith.
Yep.
And Faith jumps off the side of the building.
Yep. And Catra still has the look, what you did, you killed me. Yeah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is so like, it's because again, in similar ways, I know this is not a Buffy She-Ra comparison podcast, but maybe it is. But is like, that Faith's whole thing was like, some kind of loneliness in being who she is in this darkness. And so what she wants, as you do, as Catra does, is like, I want you to come here with me. I want you to see this with me, right? You're already so like me. Look at how I live, right? And it's the same thing of like Catra being like, come stay in this, you know what I mean? Come be like me rather than, go forward or go differently. It's this thing of like, I need you to see and be in this reality with me because I can't bear to be by myself. It's the same thing.
Yes. Buffy was the one person who was supposed to validate Faith's reality.
And Faith was like, I want you to be me. I mean, obviously this is like basic season 3 analysis, but it's like the two of them are, shadow selves. And that's where we start to see Buffy start to slowly sort of transform and like her wardrobe to be like Faith, but there's still that line she won't cross. And it's like, well, fuck then. Because if you can't or won't be like me, then there's something wrong with me. Right.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
It's the same thing here of like, God damn it, you won't fucking stay? Like, Jesus, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's on a very
I dig that, yeah.
simplistic level that is very accurate. I think obviously it's more complicated than that in Buffy and Faith's case because Faith didn't get any support from any outside structure. She didn't have any adults caring where she lived or how she lived.
Neglected as fuck.
She was the most neglected person, even more neglected than Catra, which is maybe less abused, but more neglected.
I think it's different. They're just they're two different
Catra
stories.
at least had a secure place to live.
Yeah,
they're
had Adora.
Yeah, she had a place to live. She had 3 meals a day that she didn't have to wonder if she was going to have a bed or food the next day.
That's, and Catra was like, threatened with electrocution, on the daily. And
it's like, it's not worthwhile to compare suffering.
It's not better or worse. Exactly. It's just two different stories that have similarities. And obviously there are differences and those differences matter.
Yeah. And of course, I'm sure you also know that Catra and Adora were modeled to a certain extent on Buffy and Faith by the writers.
I did not know that, actually.
Oh, yeah, they talked about it. They tweeted from the writer's room pictures of Buffy and Faith and talked about how they were watching Buffy Faith episodes while they were
I didn't realize it was
inspiration for Catra and Adora.
Great. I learned something new. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yes. So, like, it's by design.
Yes.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, ND has also said that Catra and Adora are also partly modeled on him and his wife, Molly. So it's not, a full, complete one-to-one analogy, but the influence is clearly there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And last thing, and that again I think is also really important, like in any analysis of Catra, Adora, and the relationship, which Buffy and Faith don't have, and which is like crucial here. They were friends for like over a decade. That is massive detail, which informs so much, right? This isn't like someone you just met. This isn't someone you've known for a few months. This is like, hey, this is a childhood friend. This is someone I've gone through so many things, who then goes, batshit. And that informs so much. That history and that affection and that familiarity informs the willingness to forgive, the understanding of who she is. That is a huge, huge part. Unfortunately, we don't literally see them growing up together, but that's massive. That makes a difference, right? Even in like imagining, could I forgive someone? It's like, could I forgive someone who did this to me that I met last month? Or could I forgive my childhood friend I grew up with, you know.
Right. And we do get to see a few flashbacks. Exactly. And this is the crucial thing, that their relationship is core to their development as people.
Yeah. When last we started discussing, you know, Catra's Faithful Hain moment, but, you know, we see that the entire universe, you know, there is an abyss growing behind Catra, and then a literal, you know, like hole in the universe spreading them apart.
The metaphorical chasm between them.
Oh, that's so deep.
Perfect.
That is so deep. And as the ground divides between the two of them, Catra falls towards and then into the abyss, and Adora moves away from the abyss.
And Adora is still reaching out for Catra.
I love that the last shot of her is her still. I love that.
Reaching out her hand for people at home who didn't see the video that we are seeing of each other's faces.
Once again, we get the hand reach, right?
Yes.
We get our hand reach. And then we have our parallel scene from Promise. We have Catra.
And Catra, let's go. I love that moment of like, it's a combination of like bitterness and also just like complete lack of giving a shit. Like there is some like, I'm gonna stick it to you, and there is some just like, because like what at this point, what is it? Yeah, girlie got left. She got nothing left.
Yep.
And Catra lets go and willingly falls into the darkness.
Yep. Actually, it's the light.
Well, it's the void, right?
It's the void.
Catra falls into the nothing, right?
Yes. She falls into the nothing.
Into the void, right? Okay. And then we also have to, and then this is another thing. It's actually
leaving Adora in just a sea of tears.
A sea of tears. And this is a parallel scene that we see in the future in Failsafe, at the end of Failsafe, where...
This poor kid.
I know. So,
you know, so Adora is not yet at a point of being mad at Catra for any of this, because we're going to see a shift in the next episode. But right now, Adora is still just heartbroken and sad.
She's literally on her knees, like sobbing into the ground.
Yeah, she runs away from the glitch into a part of the woods that's for now relatively safe. And then she falls to the ground and sobs along with all of us.
Which is like, which has its parallel in Failsafe when, you know, she runs away with Catra's backpack.
Yes, yes. And we all need a minute to sob on our knees after that scene.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, there's full collapsing, and then we have Raz.
Thank God.
Yay, thank you, Raz. Raz shows up. And it's like, oh, Mara Deary. Well, it doesn't say the Deary part, but, you know, it's really hard to say it without that. Yeah. You made it after all. And now we have Adora, like, clicking in. Oh, it's Raz. Madam Raz.
Yes.
And, you know, Raz, you know, existing, you know, outside of all concepts of time space has been like, it's been a long time, or it hasn't happened yet. I don't know. I get those two things mixed up.
Yeah.
Right. Because, you know, Raz understands and embraces that the universe is full of paradox and time is an illusion.
Yes.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Yes.
Good for her.
Yes.
So, and then, you know, Raz drops the bomb here that, you know, Adora wants to know, how do you know this? And
well, Adora says she couldn't save anyone else, and Raz says it's not too late.
Yes,
but
thank you.
You must act quickly.
Yes, and Adora wants to know how Raz knows that, and Raz says it's happened before, but not in the Madam Raz, you know, unstuck from time before. And the literal, like, it has happened before in linear time.
It happened with Mara. Adora suddenly remembers this crucial piece. And Raz says, yes, dearie. She moved Etheria and took away the stars.
It was crazy. Yeah, I love that. So the universe collapsed when Mara opened the portal. Okay, so here's a fun thing that I kind of thought about. This is my tiny little, like, thinking about all the people of Etheria. Okay, so are there, like, myths amongst the people of Etheria about, like, the time when the universe collapsed and changed? Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, do Bo's dads have, like, you know, the myths of the people of Plumeria say that there was a time, you know, when the universe changed. Like, do you know what I mean?
If
like,
there are, we have not heard any of them.
Right. And this is more of like my, like, you know, kind of anthropological understanding of the you know, the people of Etheria, right? It's just
it's reasonable to think that they would have mythology around this crazy shit.
Right. And like Bo's dads like have records of that. They're like, well, oral tradition states that at this time, you know what I mean? I was just kind of thinking of that. Anyway,
it's a cool idea.
A little fun bit.
Yeah.
A little fun bit.
But Adora is still fixated in the idea that all of this is her fault. Of course, all of this is her fault because everything has to be her fault because that way she has some control. Right?
Right.
I've been so afraid of becoming another Mara, destroying the world the way she did, and now it's happening.
And I love this because Raz, you know, Raz twists our understanding here and says, destroy the world. Mara saved the world. And it's
so will you.
And so will you. And we're all like, oh, fuck. Maybe Light Hope hasn't been telling us the entire truth the whole time, right?
Yes, turns the whole narrative on its head. And she hits her on the head with the broom to make sure she's really listening.
Yep, bonk.
But you can't waste any more time. You need to go back to the beginning. You need to find the sword. That's the only way this will stop.
Shit, we've heard that before, huh?
Yes, and Adora's confused because she thinks she already did that. She went to the Fright Zone. The portal wasn't there. And Raz says, no, that wasn't the beginning. You need to go back to the very beginning. And at this point, as they're talking, the glitch has caught up with them again. Everything is being enveloped into nothingness around them, and it's very dramatic and scary. Doris says she doesn't understand. Raz says, that's all right, dear. You don't need to understand. You just need to, ding, 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 remember.
But got it, need to remember. And I like that Raz is just like, okay, looks like it's my time. I'm just going to walk right into this.
Yes.
You know.
I love how cavalier she is about the whole thing. She's just like,
peace. Yep.
Yes,
I love it.
She is at peace and at one with all of creation.
Good for her. Once again.
Good for her.
And Adora pulls out her little paper again, the one that said Mara before, but now it says She-Ra.
What?
And she finally has some flashbacks of Bo and Glimmer.
Aww.
And she says, Bo and Glimmer, I need to find them. And Raz says, yes, go on, dearie, quickly. And then Raz walks into the portal because she knows it's her time and she has faith that Adora is going to save them all. So it's not really the end.
And then we cut to one of my favorite scenes in the entire show.
Oh my God, of course it is.
Yeah. Well, I love this. I
love Willow motherfucker.
I love conversations about power and corruption and darkness. I can't help it. I'm just goth, okay?
No, of course. I'm just not surprised.
So we have, meanwhile, while Raz is walking into the void, Catra climbs out of the void.
The only person we have seen climb out of the void.
Which, again, food for thought. How did that happen? Was the letting go like a misdirect? And what did she grab onto? You know what I mean? Like, how'd this work?
Yeah.
Catra is, as if we've learned anything throughout Catra's existence, is that Catra is also
has 9 lives.
A cat has 9 lives, but also a creature of will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you know.
And also, she's the only one who was touching the lever. So I feel like that could have something to do with it.
Oh, I do really like that. I was like looking at this metaphorically about Catra always, you know, Catra.
You're also right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think there's
I'm
multiple
not either.
layers.
Oh, absolutely. No, I love the like kind of like in universe, like physical, you know.
Metaphysics.
I love this idea. I think that's fucking awesome. And I also am like, I'm so in love with this scene and I'm so in love with this because we see Catra's will to survive.
Yes.
And to exist. And, you know, sometimes most of the time it's driven by spite. But spite is a fucking awesome metaphor and it keeps you alive, especially if you are the type of person, and Catra is, who is, a victim of terrible abuse and makes it through on sheer will.
Yeah.
Do you think
absolutely
that she let go, meaning to then like come back?
I don't know the answer to that. I think I kind of feel like it's almost like she let go, thinking that she could let go. But her sheer will was like, no, fuck it. We're climbing out of this, and might have just like grabbed something like on like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm kind of like working that one out.
Me too.
I don't think that I don't think she had a plan because her experience throughout this episode has been really chaotic. So I feel like she was beyond the point where she cared enough about having a plan. She was just like giving into the experience. And then once she was in it, she found that she was able to continue and go on.
Yeah, and also we do see Catra lose all, like, you know, at the end of season 4, right before she gets, teleported up and is essentially, she's suicidal, right? Like, that's the whole thing. That is when she completely loses all semblance of will for existence, right? But in this I feel like in this, Catra is saying, I don't need to exist. Wait, fuck that. I do need to exist. Yeah. And so when she pulls herself out, she is corrupted by her own void.
She's half darkness.
Yeah. She is literally, and it looks like she's corrupted by the shadow, the same way Shadow Weaver is.
Mm-hmm. I've seen people say that they like wish that there had been like some like remnant of that, like some scar. I think that would have been neat. Like some sign that again, I guess if you if you fix reality, it can't really stick. But I think that would have been neat too. And so pointed out that like again, this may be a coincidence, but maybe it's not because artists are artists, but like the thing she wears, the sleeve she wears on her arm, is that side. Yeah. I think that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was actually about to bring that out because I was going to bring that up because, in the 4th season, when she gets her new costume, she does have the one side, and it's the side that it's her right side. It's her dominant, and we see her being right-handed. So it's her dominant side is the one that is leading from the darkness.
Mm.
So, yeah. Oh, this is why I love it. I like stories of corruption. I can't help it. I'm a dark motherfucker. So they're so fun. They're so meaty. So, yep, Catra pulls herself out of the void with an intense will to survive based on spite.
Love spite.
Love spite. Love spite.
I love a compelling story. I'm willing to follow it wherever it may take us.
Yeah.
And especially knowing that we are going to win in the end. That makes it a lot easier for me to persevere. And that's why I couldn't persevere with killing Eve, even though there's a really dominant narrative about how if you love She-Ra and you're an adult and not a child, then you're definitely going to love killing Eve because it's the same. And I'm like, no, it's definitely not the fucking same because I did not watch all of Killing Eve. I watched the first few episodes. And of course, there are comedic beats. I am not denying that. But overall, there's definitely no hope of a happy ending. Like zero.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I just think Sandra Oh's the shit. So
Sandra Oh is the shit. It's very well acted. It's very well done. No question about that. It's just, it's hard for me to persevere when I know that there is no hope of a happy ending.
Well, I think on going to that and thinking about perseverance, I want to pose this question to both of you. What did we learn today?
We learned that if you've got enough shit going on in your subconscious and if you've endured enough trauma, it can manifest in an alternate reality that could scare the shit out of you and everyone you know.
Also, I don't know if you guys have seen WandaVision, but this also is like...
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Again, Wanda, Faith, Catra, and some other characters, they all go to the same group therapy.
Yes. You did a 5x5 video on WandaVision, right? That was the one on why it was your favorite Marvel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that one.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked that because it took me a few tries with that one because I didn't love it at first. Then I went and rewrote it. Anyway.
Yeah, I thought it was beautiful. I encourage everyone to watch it.
Thank you. I love Wanda and I love WandaVision and also similar vibes as, again, different flavor, but it's like a woman so, undone by despair that manifests into alternate reality that's good, but also not good. It's, again, similar vibes as like Wanda seeing the guy come out of the grate and going, no. Same thing with Catra going, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like,
yes.
Like, I can't see it.
Yeah, and the idea of this much power and this much darkness, and what are you going to use it for? I just want to create a reality where I can be happy with my little fucking family.
I'm also a big fan of like the idea. This is why I'm not too peeved by like soft magic systems or very nebulous magic systems like She-Ra. That's like, if you actually look at it, you're like, what? And same with Buffy.
Definitely.
Buffy, you're like, wait, what? because, it's in service of a story and it's in service of emotions, and that's really what I personally care about more. And so I like the idea in both of them, like WandaVision in this and other stuff too, of like very much validating the idea of like your feelings, like you can't see feelings, but they're very real in the sense that, look, big enough feelings can literally change reality.
Amen.
It's neat,
I like that.
I think that's a great note to end on. I think that sums the entire thing up.
Yeah, I think so too. So, Sar, where on the internets can our wonderful listeners find you and do the thing, interface with your content?
Well, I have a Twitter that I don't use enough because I don't, and trying to do less social media. But 5x5 Takes on Twitter, which is the number 5x5, and then the word takes. And then also, most significantly, YouTube, which is also 5x5 Takes, but written out in letters. So FIVE. I will hopefully make some more She-Ra stuff at some point. I haven't in a while, but I would absolutely love to. So
yeah, and I'm going to speak for both of us that we would love that.
I would love that. I've got a little outline of like why I really love the two-parter pilot, why I think it's a really perfect pilot. So like maybe that'll see the light of day.
It is perhaps the most perfect pilot that ever piloted.
Yeah. And that's actually something Jenny and I talked about in our very first episode, which is like, this is the perfect pilot.
It's a good fucking pilot.
So it's a good fucking pilot.
It's a great foundation. There's like so much foreshadowing that you don't even know until you get there.
Oh, yeah.
And also it gets really fucking gay really fucking fast.
Yeah, it does get gay really fast. And also,
it's very efficient.
0 to gay in 2.5 seconds.
Also, the music slaps. I know. You have a whole video, which I haven't watched yet.
Last parentheses, I fucking love the music is exceptional for all sorts of reasons.
Agreed. But
also, like, I love a good motif, and in the little fraction of a flashback where she's like remembering the promise, they play the childhood theme that is used and then used again. It's the little like dun dun like
yep.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, and we have the beginning of the action motif as our theme song. So obviously we love Promise as well. Well, folks, if you liked what you heard and you want everything to be perfect, you can like and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at HeyAdoraCast, or you can email us your descriptions of your perfect day at HeyAdoraCast@gmail.com.
Also, we never remember to tell people to rate and review us. On iTunes. Yeah. That's an important thing, too. If you like our shit, please rate and review us on iTunes, because that helps more people find us.
It's true. I just assume that you all love us. But, hey, yes.
But this is the thing you can do to show your love.
Please rate and review us and follow us on social media and send us adoration and pizzas.
Yes.
Yes.
Send us an email pizza.
And more importantly, Patreon.
Yes, join us on Patreon. This has been a super long episode, so let's just assume that you guys all know all the great shit we do on Patreon, and if you want to know more, you'll go find it either on our website or all the links that will be on our show notes or at heyadora.gay.
Yes, and remember that every week has our Spotify playlist. Remember is also going to be in our show notes. And yeah, that's right, we super fucking got a .gay.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you enormously for letting me be here and ramble and yell.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for coming.
This was enormous fun. You've been a wonderful guest.
Yes.
You've been fantastic hosts. I'm deeply appreciative.
No, we are deeply appreciative. That was awesome.
Yes, the three of us are definitely making a cone of power here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, please come back. We would love to have you back. Find a meaty episode. We'll talk.
Yes.
And remember, folks, queer joy is radical.
And queer love saves the universe.
Ow!
Ow!
Remember. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.